All right, a quick update right now as you look at the scene. Live shots coming into us from Palm Beach, Florida, in that zone that will be targeted by Hurricane Matthew, barreling with Category 4 storm winds in excess of 140 miles per hour. Already upwards of 2 million residents in that affected locale have been urged to leave the state. Many are. A lot of them are either stuck on 95 or Florida's Turnpike trying to get out, but they're not moving very quickly. It depends on the road you take. The other option is to move from east to west. As you can see from Florida, it's about a 2.5-hour drive at its widest point from east to west. The impact would be less there, but it would still be severe there. The latest read from FEMA Administrator Craig Fugate on how they're preparing. Administrator, very good to have you. What's the latest on your front?
Well, again, the track is not good news for anybody, but we've been planning for major impacts in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. Early in the week, we were actually looking as far north as the Mid-Atlantic, but it looks like right now the first up will be Florida. Southeast Georgia is potentially going to have a lot of impacts, particularly in Brunswick and into the Savannah region. South Carolina, not so sure about North Carolina, but our plan is to be ready to support all 4 states from significant impacts from this hurricane.
You also have to factor in, obviously, models and trajectories that can and often do change. It was a few days ago this thing was a tropical storm and morphed into this monster, and you've dealt with that many times. So how do you prepare for something that if it skirts the Florida coast, but still obviously hits it with severe winds and just moves up, doesn't do the counterclockwise thing, but continues moving up, as some models show as a potential, then you've got a much broader swath of folks who are in its indirect path, right?
Yeah, that's been what we've been looking at. Right now, we're just basically using the I-95 corridor, all that population, primarily focused on the east side of the I-95 corridor,
right.
But also looking at how far inland hurricane-force winds may go.
Let me ask, it's a dumb question on my part, but if you're moving from east to west in Florida, there isn't a lot of room to go, maybe 2.5 hours to the other side. Are you that significantly much better off, or what?
No, really, you just need to go tens of miles. We've actually had people evacuate back when Hurricane Charlie hit from Tampa. They drove all the way to Orlando, and they had worse damages in Orlando than they did in Tampa.
Huh.
So we primarily focus on evacuating from storm surge. For many people, and again, we're working with our partners, again, Governor Scott and his team, with local officials. They've opened up shelters in these counties along the coast. So we tell people you need to go tens of miles. If you do choose to go further, leave early. As you point out, traffic is heavy, but there's still time to evacuate to higher ground.
If I can follow up with yet another stupid question. By the way, Director or Administrator, we're getting word now that the President has gone ahead and signed that emergency declaration that the Florida governor requested. So first on that, what does that do? When the President signs off on emergency declaration, what does that do?
Well, we got that, and we're also working on the request from the other states. It just formalizes what we've been doing for the last 2 days, and that is Congress made it very clear after Katrina, if we think that disaster has occurred or is occurring or could occur, we can start moving resources before the states ask. This would be the formal document that allows us to turn those resources over to the states, but it has not impeded us from moving stuff now, working with the states, and I told them, I just got off a call with all 4 state directors. If you think you need it, if you're not even sure, just ask. We'll move it. This will actually codify that. It will provide the ability for us to now turn that over to the states for their use in responding to the impending disaster.
You know, I was thinking before you were coming here, all the people who are unfamiliar with a severe hurricane, actually the last 11 years in Florida, any hurricane at all, it's been that long since one hit. And I would imagine there are a good many people who either didn't get flood insurance if they weren't directly on the water, who might regret that now and might be looking to FEMA to help them out if everything hits the fan. What are FEMA's obligations at that point?
Well, again, we focus on the uninsured losses. We saw this again when we were in Louisiana.
Right.
So we focus on, first up is insurance, what your insurance didn't cover. It's not only going to be flood. Along the Gulf Coast, particularly in Florida, a lot of people have very high hurricane deductibles. So we think that not only is it going to be flood, but it's going to be people who are underinsured for wind damage. And we will focus with our partners at SBA on either loans or if they qualify grants. But we are anticipating that there could be a lot of people for the next couple of days that may need assistance in rebuilding their homes.
To put it mildly. Then what are the obligations? You know, a lot of insurance-related stocks, Craig, are getting really pounded today on the idea that it's going to be a very expensive storm. Is there a backstop if they don't have the money, or some of the smaller players actually go out of business?
Well, that's one of the things that Florida learned after Hurricane Andrew.
Right.
And so Florida does have a catastrophic hurricane fund. It's something that I, as a homeowner, pay extra on my premiums after hurricanes to help provide that level of funding to these large payouts. Florida also has Citizens, which is their state insurer of last resort for wind pools. So these, unfortunately, were results of what we saw in Andrew and will be playing out again as we face this storm.
You know, this storm is personal for you as well. You are Floridian. Your family's there. How is everyone doing?
Well, they were evacuating early this morning and last night. We're getting everybody up to inland, so they're away from the coast. And I just told them, I said, look, I don't have time to discuss this with you. You need to evacuate. I'm busy, and I'm not going to be able to come look for you after the storm. So all the kids have gone to safety, and so I can focus on the rest of Floridians and the Georgians and everybody else that's in the path of this storm.
Scary stuff. Craig Fugate, thank you for taking the time. The FEMA Administrator